Hello and welcome to another day of landscape photography. Today the weather is not very nice, and as you know, that does not put me off. So today what I'm going to do is make the most of the conditions and go to a place that suits the sort of overcast, darker skies. So I'm going to head up to Aysgarth Falls and aim for a little bit of waterfall and woodland photography. Come with me. Okay, so I'm set up for the first shot of the day, and I'm going to go through this quickly because it is very noisy, as you might be able to hear. I've got a very simple shot with the camera set up on the tripod down here, about as close to the water as I dare get. Just look how fast moving that is. It is particularly impressive with a lot of water in there today. So composition wise, all I'm doing is using the waterfall here just to lead you round into the trees behind me. And then there's a rock just there that's sort of forming a composition with that on the bottom left-hand cross of the rule of thirds. And it's just making a really nice little composition to get me going for the day. Now, settings-wise, it's pretty important for this shot. Some people like long exposures on waterfalls, and I am one of those people. So what I'm doing, I have a 6-stop ND filter on the front of the lens, along with a polarizer, particularly just to darken the top of the waterfall here and take the sheen off that. I then have a shutter speed of about 1.6 seconds, which is enough to smooth out this fast moving water. I am also bracketing because the sky above is quite bright, as is actually the water at the bottom of the falls where it's all white. So very simple shot, but it's going to be a nice start to the day. I've got some of those autumnal colours on the trees as well, so it's going to work really nicely, and I'm happy with how that's looking right at the start of the day. I'm going to capture one more just to be sure, because the sky was a bit bright in the last shot. It's overcast again now, which is the perfect conditions for this shot. Good start though. Let's have a look. So second shot of the day is set up, and I don't do a lot of woodland despite growing up in the woods near my home in the North York Moors, but it's not something I've particularly photographed that often, partly because I don't like getting out of bed, and the best time for woodland photography is first thing in the morning on a nice misty or foggy morning, but I don't have that here today. My attention has been drawn towards this tree behind me here because as I was walking through this small wood, it's quite dark, the sort of thick canopy is still there, but the autumnal colours are starting to come through, and the yellow leaves on this tree just sort of struck me with a nice dark background, so I wanted to capture it. It's also got a fairly interesting trunk to the tree as well, so I'm using that as my composition. It's not your sort of normal technique or composition that I'm using, because quite often you want things leading you into the frame to focus your attention into the center or towards the top of the frame, but I'm not doing that with this image. Everything is kind of leading out of the frame from the bottom, and those leaves are just doing that and producing that kind of shape. So it's slightly unusual composition, but I think it's going to work with those nice yellow leaves contrasted against the dark background. So that's really what I'm going for. Settings wise, it's also quite important with this shot because it's still a bit windy in this small wood, so I've had to up the ISO just a little bit so I can get the shutter speed up to then freeze those leaves in the wind. I'm currently at 1/250th of a second, which is about enough to freeze the movement in the leaves. Secondly, I'm at ISO 640, which is quite high, but this camera can quite easily deal with that. And then I am at f2.8 on the aperture, because the reason I'm doing that is I want to maximize the blur in the background to try and really isolate this tree. Because the problem you have with woodland sometimes in these kind of conditions is that you can't actually see the tree for the wood, it just kind of all blends in. So by using that f2.8, I'm just isolating that particular tree just a little bit, and with a bit of post-processing to really enhance the contrast, it should work really nicely, and those yellow leaves are going to be front and center in the image. So I'm just going to grab that now. I'm focused in on the tree trunk, 2-second timer, get the image, and yes, I am really happy with that, especially once I put it through Lightroom. I was a little bit worried about the tripod being washed off that rock then, but I do have it set up for my third shot of the day. After the previous two shots, which were a little bit tighter, I wanted to find a composition with a bit more of an open expanse to it, just to sort of really round off the feeling that this place has generated in me today. And that's what I found with this composition. So I've trekked out onto these rocks. They are very slippery, and you definitely would not want to fall in there today. So I am being very, very careful. I'm at the lower falls here of Aysgarth Falls, and this fall is pretty big, and there is a massive amount of water coming down it. So all I'm doing at the moment is I have shot one shot already with the 17 to 40mm lens on there, just to give you that nice wide expanse of this scene. I've done it in two ways. Firstly, I did it with a 6-stop filter to give you that long exposure again, and I'm bracketing the shot again, and it's roughly a sort of 5-second exposure, which has actually created a lot of movement in this image because the water is moving really, really fast. Secondly, I've then done it without the 6-stop filter, just with the polarizer on. The polarizer is important today to take the sheen off the water, so you get that those nice dark areas and the nice light area where it's sort of foaming up. Compositionally, I'm using these rocks to lead you in to the waterfall, then I'm getting all the swirling water around in the bottom of the frame, leading you up into the waterfall and the trees. And then there was a nice bit of blue sky came out as well to show itself and improve the image just that little bit more. At the moment, I've done a second shot with the 70 to 200mm lens on there, just to get me a little bit closer in to that waterfall, but I don't think I like that shot as much. So I put both shots up. Let me know which one you like best down in the comments, because I would be interested. I think I like the big expanse because it tells a better story of this area today. Fantastic location. I've also got some of the nice autumnal colours starting to come into the trees, and that's all just adding to the composition. So that's typical, isn't it? When I was expecting a cloudy, overcast day, it's come really good at the last moment, which is nice because I've captured 3 really good images making the most of this waterfall and woodland landscape. It's great for overcast days, and you don't need to be out towards sunset either. You can get some good stuff right in the middle of the day, and that's what I've done today. I'm now going to go and enjoy a bit of a walk, find a couple of nice places for a time lapse, and enjoy the rest of my day out and about here. But I hope you've enjoyed the video. I think I'm gonna have to bite the bullet soon and get a drone, because I did miss it today and we could have got some great shots down by the river there. But leave a comment down below, let me know what you think. And if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the channel if you've enjoyed the video. And if you are subscribed, hit that notification bell so you know when my videos come out. But I'll see you on another one very, very soon. I'm Adam. This is First Man Photography at Aysgarth Falls. out.